Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for choosing to be here for some yoga this afternoon. Thank you so much to Be Well Philly Yoga Flow for holding space for us to do yoga together this month. We'll be together every Wednesday throughout August. Thanks to Be Well Philly and our wonderful, generous sponsor, Michelob Ultra. So my name's Mariel. I think I didn't mention that. Thank you to Be Well Philly. Thank you to Philly Mag Events team. Thank you to Michelob Ultra. I'm coming to you from Three Queens Yoga Studio in Queen Village, Philadelphia. And I've been doing yoga for 20 years. Teaching yoga for 16, I think. And the main thing I just like to share before we get started is yoga is an invitation, not an obligation. So anything that I offer to you in this practice today, please feel free to take it or leave it. Fluency in yoga is really about knowing and doing what is appropriate for you. So please pace yourself, modify, choose a variation, spectate as needed, drink water as needed. If you have a yoga block or something like a block, a yoga strap, a belt, a sock, a long sleeve shirt as stand-in props, feel free to have those nearby. Be resourceful at home. If you need like padding for knees, you can pull cushions, towels, blankets, pillows from your couch or your bathroom or your bedroom to make yourself just as comfortable as humanly possible. So the entire physical practice of yoga is first and foremost in service to the breath. In the yoga tradition, we see life as a gift. We see embodiment as a gift. And we have this physical practice of yoga as a strategy for aligning ourselves and engaging ourselves and stretching ourselves through aligned engagement in order to really optimize and maximize our capacity for breath, for energy, for life. So the whole practice is in service to the breath. And if at any time you feel like you're straining for breath or trying to catch your breath, best to just back it up until you feel at ease in the natural breath and then kind of continue on. Let's take a comfortable seat if you haven't already. Make yourself as comfortable as you can on the floor, kneeling, cross-legged, even in a chair or on your favorite seat in the house. And just take a moment to welcome yourself to the present moment. You can close your eyes in order to see yourself more clearly. Notice the breath as it breathes you, and allow yourself to soften, to settle, and to receive the breath more fully. Invite a deeper breath in through the nose, into the belly, let it fill you up. And a longer breath out, let your outer body soften and settle. The breath, the gift of life, fills us, surrounds us, and connects us together, even and no matter how far apart we seem. Notice how and where you feel your breath in your body. And just a moment to let your whole body be breathed. And on your next inhalation, we'll bring our hands together before the heart in what's called Anjali Mudra. It's a prayer-like gesture. And it's a gesture in yoga that acknowledges and honors the voice of the true teacher, which is never further than our own hearts, the source of supreme love, which is never further than our own breath. The breath feeds the heart feeds the mind feeds the body. And here in this gift of embodiment, we have an opportunity to serve the breath and to serve the heart. We place the heart before us as a guide for at least the time we spend together, and we'll take a moment to bow to our hearts, to supreme love, divine wisdom, the voice of the true teacher, always present, intrinsic, intrinsically peaceful, intrinsically powerful. And keeping that connection inward unwavering, let's release the hands and begin by coming onto your yoga mat in a tabletop position. So on all fours. You can have your hands up near the top of your mat. And walk your knees back just a little bit behind your hips. Look for your breath. And as you exhale, round your spine. Push down through the arms, lift the sides of the waist up, round the upper back. Inhale to arch your spine. Soften between the shoulder blades, slide the heart, center the chest forward and up. Exhale to round, linking breath and movement. Inhale to arch. Breathing in and out through the nose. If you're familiar with yogic breath, you can play with Ujjayi breath. If that's unfamiliar, simply breathing in and out through the nose and allowing the breath to be just as smooth and steady as possible in this moment. Takes a little time at the end of the day for the breath to smooth itself out. We'll come more into a neutral spine position, and if your hands are not already at the top of your mat, walk them forward. Spread the fingers evenly, walk your knees back behind your hips, and as you inhale, float your shoulders up towards your ears, and then right between the shoulder blades, soften, so you feel the arm bones move a little deeper in towards the shoulder sockets. I teach alignment-based Hatha Yoga, and I love to explore and experiment with the biomechanics of our bodies in order for energy to flow more fully and freely in us, as us, through us. And we feel more ease and more wellness. So as you float the armpits up, send your hips back. Notice if and where you feel the stretch. As you press the palms down, lift the armpits up. And as you lift the armpits up, soften right between the shoulder blades. Inhale towards a tabletop position. Again, you might need to walk your knees in a smidge. And as you exhale, lift the knees and hips up and back towards downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. It's like an inverted V. And as you come into downward facing dog, press the inner edges of your hands down. Claw your fingertips, bend your left leg, left foot on the floor as you press the right thigh bone back and the right heel down towards the earth. Notice what you feel, how it feels, where you feel it. Breathe in through the nose, push down through the arms, and exhale through the nose. Let the heel get a little heavier. Then bend the right leg. Keeping the right foot on the ground, stretch back and down through the left heel. Big breath in, breath feeds the heart, heart feeds the mind, mind feeds the body. And as you exhale from the center of your chest, push through the arms to lift through the hips and root through the left heel. Good, stretch both heels back, now legs are straighter. Lift the heels up high, and as you inhale, float the right leg straight up to the sky. Exhale, step the right foot between your hands. You can keep the back leg straight, the back knee lifted, or you can lower the back knee to the ground for more stability. And on an inhale, reach your arms up. Linking breath and movement. Exhale to soften, to become more sensitive, more receptive to the energy that fills us, surrounds us, and connects us. We're a large group together in this moment. And as you inhale, pull your back knee forward, pull your front foot back, feel the legs engage more all the way up into the hips. And from the hips, as you root down through the legs, stretch up through the spine, stretch up through your crown, stretch up through your fingertips. Exhale, fingertips touch the earth, step it back to downward dog. Breathe, breath to heart, heart to mind, mind to body. As you inhale, float the left leg straight back and up. Lift the right heel, look between your hands. Exhale, step it through to lunge. Can keep your back leg lifting straight and strong, or lower the back knee to the earth. And as you inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, receive the support of gravity in your front foot, the back foot, maybe the back knee. And if the back leg is straight, as you inhale, pull your feet towards each other. If your back knee is on the ground, pull your back knee and front foot towards each other to engage energy from the earth all the way up into your depths. And from deep inside your hips and pelvis, as you root down through the legs, stretch up through the spine, the crown, the fingertips. As you exhale, fingertips touch the earth, take a big step forward. Keep your legs really bent like you're sitting back into a chair, and reach your arms overhead, biceps by the ears. See that your knees and toes point straight ahead. And as you lengthen the sitting bones down through the heels, lift the chest up, the heart up. Take the head back, and now slide the biceps back by the ear, sit a little deeper. Find your breath, and on an inhale, stand tall. Standing tall mountain, big breath in. Exhale, hands to heart. Notice the rhythmic beating of your heart, always present. Can't be seen, but can be felt. Just take a moment to recalibrate yourself to its presence. Release the hands as you inhale, stretch up, reach up. Exhale, bend your legs, fingertips tap the earth. Root through the heels, inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, sit deeper. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, hands to the source of supreme love, your heart. Let it reverberate from inside out in all directions. Release the hands, inhale, stretch up, big breath in, drink life in. As you exhale, bend the legs, fingertips tap the earth. This time, lean into your fingertips and start to press your thighs back, legs towards straight. And as you press your thighs back, reach your heart forward. Exhale, fold over your legs, bow to your heart. As you inhale, get long through the spine. As you exhale, step your left foot way back to a lunge and spin your left heel to the ground. Bring your right forearm to your right thigh, left hand to left hip. So wide stance here, enough that the front knee can be over the ankle and the top of the right thigh level with the knee. If this thigh up here is higher than your knee, do yourself a favor, walk your back foot back, take a wider stance, stretch your stance. And then for more stability and power, as you stretch your stance without moving your feet, inhale, pull the feet towards each other, plug into yourself for stability. As you pull the feet towards each other, the inner back thigh lifts up. Keep that as the top of the front thigh descends. You want a little bit more? Bring your right elbow directly inside of your right thigh and press arm into leg and leg into arm. Lean back against your shoulders. Press arm into leg and leg into arm. One more breath. Exhale, touch the ground. Take a big step forward. Inhale, get long through the spine. Exhale, fold over your legs, bow to your heart. Notice if there's a difference in feeling, sensation between your legs. As you inhale, get long through the spine. Exhale, fold. Step your right foot all the way back to a lunge. Spin your back heel to the ground. This time, left forearm comes to left thigh, right hand to right hip. Stretch your stance long. And as you exhale, bend the front knee directly over the ankle. Top of the left thigh level with the front knee. And as you inhale, pull your feet towards each other. Feel the legs engage from the ground all the way up to your pelvis, your hips, your deepest source power. And as the back thigh lifts up, let the top of the front thigh descend. Lean back against your shoulders. Maybe press that front forearm into the front leg. Think leg into arm, arm into leg for a deeper opening in the hips and the pelvis. As you exhale, come through lunge. We're gonna step it all the way back to downward dog now and check it out. So That foundational part of extended side angle in Warrior Two that we just did on both sides is a very deep hip opener. As you come into downward dog, having opened the hips a bit or a lot, notice any newfound space, any perhaps less tension or more opening through the backs of the legs. More space for more energy, vitality to flow in us, as us, through us. Find your breath, inhale to the top of a plank, top of a push-up position. Float the shoulders up and back. You can lower your knees. And this is called Chaturanga bypass. This is a really sweet way to be tender to your shoulders. Rather than coming through Chaturanga, the bottom of a push-up, bend your elbows and reach your heart forward. Only as much as you need to soften your hips and pelvis to the ground. So you land right in the cobra, Bhujangasana. Claw the fingertips, and without moving your hands, pull your hands towards your feet. Press the inner edges of the hands down as you pull them back, flick the toenails down, and as though there was a headrest behind you, slide your palate back. Exhale to downward dog. Whew. Find your breath. As you inhale, lift the heels, float the right leg straight up and back. Look between your hands, exhale, catch your lunge. Spin both feet to the left now. We're in a wide-legged forward fold. Make your feet parallel. So look at both feet. Usually one or both wants to turn out. Get your feet, knees and toes to point straight ahead. And as you inhale, pull your feet towards each other so you feel your inner thighs really engage. I think of this as like our deepest core muscles, these inner thighs. As you pull your feet to the midline, bring your hands to your hips, reach your chest forward, anchor your sitting bones down, and on your next breath in, come all the way up to standing. You can either locate your strap or your sock or a sleeve, a belt, something, or interlace your hands behind your back. You can interlace your hands behind your back or give yourself a little bit more space, but just by taking a sleeve or a belt or a strap. And as you inhale, lift the shoulders up and back. Try not to take them down and back, and really resist the up, back, and down thing. Simply up and back. And as you inhale, pull the feet towards each other, reach the arms back and up. As you exhale, fold between your legs. And let the arms get heavy overhead. Let the head be heavy like ripe fruit. And then put a little bend in your elbows. Soften your elbows just a bit and try to pull the strap apart. If the hands are interlaced, as you inhale, pull your feet towards each other. And as you exhale, try to pull your hands apart. Whew, good, release. Turn the right knee and toes through lunge. Step it back to downward dog. It's a lot on the wrists. You can always take breaks. Come into puppy pose. That's that first pose we did, or quarter dog, where you bring your knees to the earth and send your hips back. It'll be a little less pressure on your wrists, and make sure you're clawing your fingertips. In downward dog, to protect the wrists, you want to make sure that the weight is much more to the inner edges of your hands than the outer heels of the hands. That's going to help the wrists a lot. On an inhale, float your left leg straight up and back. Lift the right heel, look between the hands. As you exhale, follow the breath on through to lunge. Pivot your feet to the right. Bring your hands to your hips. And as you inhale, hug the feet towards each other. Come all the way up to standing. Stretch your arms out to the sides. Make sure your ankles are wrist width apart. Turn your right knee and toes out. And as you exhale, bend the right knee to square. Right knee directly over the ankle. This is Warrior Two. The tendency is to lean out over your front leg. As you inhale, pull the feet towards each other and reach back straight past your left foot to bring your torso more into middle, more centered between the legs. And as you reach back past your back foot, let the top of the front thigh descend. On an inhale, reach the right arm up and back, reach the left fingertips down the left leg. And as you squeeze the front heel to the midline, guide that front knee more open, bend deeper. As you reach up and back through the right fingertips, push your front leg straight, come through center. Exhale, right fingertips come to the floor or a block or anything. Like if you're tight, you're just gonna wanna lift the floor up to meet you where you can reach. And you can also bring your right fingertips more to the floor out in front of you to shorten the distance here. So right fingertips to the floor in front of you or right inside your front leg. Left arm to the sky for triangle. From the core of the pelvis as you push through the bones of the legs, extend through the spine, the crown, root through the right fingertips to stretch through the left fingertips. And on your next inhalation, reach up and back through the left arm to standing. Turn your right toes in, turn your left toes out, bend the left knee directly over the ankle. Notice how the weight falls over the front leg. Reach back through the right arm, reach past your right foot, and let the top of the left thigh descend to the left heel. Squeeze the left heel in, guide the left knee open. How deep can you bend into the front leg without your torso falling forward? Reach back, bend deeper. Inhale, reverse the warrior, left arm up and back past your back foot, bend a little deeper. Inhale, push the front leg straight, come up through center. Exhale, left fingertips to the floor or a block. Inside your front leg and even more forward in front of you. It's called stacking the deck in your favor. It allows energy and breath to move as fully and freely as possible. That's what we're here for. To energize our bodies, our minds, our hearts. Good. Exhale, touch the floor. Bend the front leg, spin the back heel up. We'll take it back to downward dog. Notice any newfound space. Find your breath. Inhale to plank. Can exhale for chaturanga if you know it and love it, or chaturanga bypass, tender loving to your shoulders. Lower the knees, lift the shoulders up and back, bend the elbows only as much as you need to lower your hips to the ground. And as you press the hands down, pull them back to slide the chest forward and up. Exhale for downward dog. Time as we inhale, we'll float the left leg straight up and back. Exhale, step it through to lunge. Feel both feet on the ground. For stability here, pull your feet towards each other. Scissor the legs to the midline. And as you inhale, reach up, crescent lunge. As you exhale, take a big step forward, maybe balancing on the left leg, cross the right ankle, over the left thigh, and sit deep into chair pose. I call this pigeon chair. If you have like a chair or a piece of furniture or a wall nearby, maybe not a plant, don't hurt your plants, but something stable you can hold on to for stability, go for it. Be resourceful. Sort of locate yourself in your environment. Inhale to rise up through center. And as you exhale, step it all the way back to lunge. Bring your fingertips to the floor inside your front leg. Lower your back knee to the ground. Shift your hips back a little bit. The hips tend to get heavy and drop down. To open your hips, lift the hips up and back. And keep your front knee over your ankle. Then bend your back leg, and with your left hand, find your right foot for a thigh stretch. Shoulders back. Send your hips back towards your back heel, and keeping that, let the top of the front thigh descend. Just until you feel a thigh stretch on the back leg. Slow down the breath and smooth through the nose. Pull the back knee and front foot towards each other. And out, smooth through the nose, lean back against the shoulders. Gently release, downward dog. Feel the difference, if any, from side to side, having just gotten quite a bit deeper into the right leg. Notice if the right heel is Any closer to the ground. On an inhale, float the right leg straight up and back. Exhale, catch your lunge. Pull the feet towards each other. Scissor the legs to the midline. Big breath in. Reach the arms up. And on an exhalation, big step forward. Balance on your right leg. Cross the left ankle over the right thigh. And sit deep towards chair pose, pigeon chair. If there's anything nearby that can lend some support, some stability, tap on it, lean on it as needed. Inhale to rise up through center. Exhale, step it all the way back to a lunge. Both feet on the ground, big breath in. Exhale, touch the floor inside your front leg. As you lower the back knee down, send your hips back, up and back. Front knee directly over the ankle, and then bending the back leg. Your right hand can find your left foot for a thigh stretch. Keep the back foot active. And as you draw the inner heel towards the outer hip, even more, send the hip towards the heel. Then shoulders back and let the top of the front thigh descend. Notice what you feel, how it feels, where you feel it. Not as a judgment, not as another opportunity to go against yourself, but as an invitation to receive yourself. And as we practice, as a practice, continue to receive ourselves more fully, to embrace embodiment. Gently release the back foot, downward dog. You can always take it into child's pose or puppy. Just a moment to remember that this is a practice in service to the gift of life. This is a practice of offering ourselves to the breath. So you can rest as needed, otherwise inhale through plank, exhale through chaturanga, shoulders no lower than elbow height, or that chaturanga bypass. Inhale for cobra, cobra dog, up dog if you feel ready. Not the biggest fan of that pose. Exhale for downward dog. Check it out. Let's walk the feet halfway forward to the middle of the mat. We'll walk our hands halfway back, meet yourself in the center. Just take a moment to bow to yourself, your body, your mind, your heart, this day. Just the opportunity to be here together, to move with the breath in our bodies. As you root through the legs, inhale, stand tall, standing tall mountain. Root the legs into the earth as you stretch the arms up to the sky. And then exhale, come back to center, hands to heart. Notice the rhythmic beating of your heart, the steady currents of your breath. Release the hands. Step forward a bit to the top of your mat, and we'll take the feet outer hips distance apart. Turn your feet out a little bit, so knees and toes turn out here. And then bend your legs, hands to the thighs, start to stick your butt out. And still check to make sure that the knees and toes are tracking in the same direction. Often what happens is the toes turn out, the knees knock in, or the toes turn in, the knees knock out. Really important for the health and wellness of our knees to make sure that the knees are tracking the same direction as our toes. And then keeping that, as much as you can keep your heels glued to the earth, sit back and down. As you sit back and down, if the weight falls forward into the balls of the feet, the heels come up. Just lift your butt up more until you can get your heels down. And breathe here. Think butt back and down, chest, heart, forward and up. And if you can keep the heels grounded, you might be able to squat all the way down. Slide the arms inside the legs, and as you press your arms out into your legs, hug your legs into your arms. And breathe. Lower your hips to the ground. Come onto your back. As you come onto your back, you can bring your knees directly over your hips. So just like chair pose, only now chair pose on our backs. You can even bring your hands to the fronts of your thighs, and rather than letting the knees fall in towards the chest, directly over your thighs, 90 degree in the hips and the knees. So knees over hips, heels in line with the knees. Press your hands into your legs. Take a deep breath in through the nose, and then exhale with a pause there. Feel that inner engagement. That's the toning, the engagement of your deepest core muscles, your transverse abdominals. Keep that. If you want to feel it a little bit more, press hands into thighs, thighs into hands. Deep breath in through the nose. Exhale with a shh. Keep it as you take your arms out to the sides in cactus. Hold on to the edges of your mat. Keep your knees evenly stacked. Big breath in. As you exhale, knees stay evenly stacked. Take your knees over to the right as much as you can. Keep your left shoulder anchored down. Inhale the legs through center. Exhale the knees to the left as much as you can. Keep the right shoulder down. Press the center back of your skull down so the head stays in neutral. Inhale the legs through center. Exhale the knees to the right as much as you can. Keep the left shoulder down. Pull your right knee back. Stretch your top knee a little longer so the knees are evenly stacked. Inhale the legs through center. Exhale your knees to the left. Retract the bottom leg, extend the top leg, keep your head in neutral. Inhale the legs to center. 3 more times to each side. Exhale, knees to the right. Follow your breath. Squeeze the legs together. Inhale through center. Exhale, the knees to the left. Root the center back of the skull down. Pull the bottom knee back. Extend the top knee longer. Inhale the legs through center. 2 more times to each side. Breathing. Root the left shoulder down as the legs go to the right. Press the center back of the skull down as you inhale the legs through center. Press the right shoulder down as you extend the legs to the left. Press the center back of the skull down as you inhale the legs to center. 1 more time, legs to the right. Pause here, breathe. Press the center back of the skull down. Retract the bottom leg in as you extend the top leg a little bit longer. Inhale through center. Zip lock the legs together. Exhale the legs to the left. Press the center back of the skull down. Extend the top leg longer as you retract the bottom leg, knees evenly stacked. Inhale the legs through center. Exhale, feet to the ground. Hands to the low belly. Deeper breath in. Longer breath out. Feel the breath move in your belly as you inhale. Belly breath, feel the belly expand. As you exhale, belly breath, feel the belly soften. Inhale, the belly rises. Exhale, the belly softens. Bring your knees and feet hips distance apart. Bend your elbows alongside the waist. Palms are facing each other at the midline. Fingers are pointing towards the sky. As you press the elbows down, lift the chest up and carve the shoulder blades towards each other underneath the upper back. Press the center back of the skull down firm into the ground. And as you stand through your feet, lift the hips up. As you lift your hips, take your heels, not the toes, just the heels a little bit wider, and hug your knees towards each other. And keeping that, as the heels come apart and the knees come together, exhale, press the feet down forward to bring the bridge from inside out. Press the center back of your skull down, press the elbows down, and press the feet down forward to build the bridge from inside out. And as you exhale, lower the hips down. Feel the back body soften into the lap of the earth. We'll roll to the right, press through the arms, to come up through a seated position and into a tabletop. As you come into a tabletop position, lengthen from hips to armpits again. So the side body is nice and long. That just creates more space through the whole torso for more breath when we focus on lengthening the side waist, the side body. So lengthen from hips to armpits, plug the heads of the arm bones towards the back body, stretch your left leg back, ball of the foot on the ground, come onto your right fingertips. Lift the left heel hip height, turn the left toes in, hug the left leg to the midline, and as you press your fingertips down and forward, draw the belly in, the bottom ribs in. Can stay right here, maybe. Bring your right bicep behind your right ear. Head in line with the heart, and breathe. Stretch from the core of the pelvis back through your left leg and out through your right fingertips. Exhale through center, table. Stretch your right leg back, ball of the foot on the ground. Come onto your left fingertips. Lengthen from hips to armpits. And as you claw your fingertips into the earth, lift from the right inseam. Right heel just hip height. And from the belly, as you extend through the right heel, turn the right toes in and maybe reach the left arm overhead, bicep by the ear. Draw the belly in, the ribs in, keep the head back in line with the heart. And as you hug the arm and the leg to the midline, push back through your heel and out through your fingertips. Exhale to table. Tuck the toes, downward dog. On your next inhale, let's float the left leg up and back. Exhale, step it through to lunge. Lower the back knee to the ground and bring both hands to the front thigh. Draw the back knee forward without moving it. Pull the front foot back, scissor the legs to the midline. Hook your right elbow outside your left thigh. Hands in prayer. So if you have a bun in the oven, an alternative here would be to just take your right fingertips to the floor or a block, more to the right edge of your mat, and bring your left hand to the hip or the sky for a more open belly twist here. So you don't ever want to close the belly when there's a bun in the oven. You want to keep the belly open. And as long as it's an open belly twist, it's safe. Everyone else with the arm outside the leg in the deeper twist, press arm into leg, leg into arm. If you want more, big if, lift the back knee and thigh high to the sky. Arm into leg, leg into arm. Inhale to untwist. Exhale to downward dog. Find your breath, breath to heart, heart to mind, mind to body. As you inhale, float the right leg up. Exhale, step it through to lunge. Lower the back knee down. Again, the hips tend to collapse towards the floor to create more of a hip opener, more access to the strength of your legs. Keep the hips lifting up and back towards the back heel. Then you can get more in your legs. If there's a bun in the oven, we'll take the left fingertips more to the left, right hand to the right thigh or right hip, and twist open with the belly, maybe here. Everyone else, you can come more upright and hook the left elbow outside the right thigh, hands in prayer. Press arm into leg, leg into arm. And if you want more, big if, you can lift the back heel, knee, and thigh high to the sky. And as you lift the back thigh up, pull the feet towards each other. And as you exhale, press arm into leg, leg into arm to leverage yourself into a deeper twist. Inhale to untwist. Exhale to downward dog. Can rest in dog or in child's pose. If you have it in you, inhale for plank. Exhale for chaturanga or chaturanga bypass. Inhale for cobra, cobra dog or up dog. Remembering to receive yourself. Exhale, downward dog. Find your breath. Inhale to float the right leg straight back and up. Exhale through to pigeon prep. So we'll take the right knee wider than the right wrist. Your right knee comes towards the right edge of your mat. If you feel a little stuck in there, just scooch the right knee over to the right. And then you can always walk your back knee back a little bit more to back into the pose. And you don't need your hips to sink or collapse to the earth here. Rather, pull your knees energetically towards each other to create more inner lift. And as you pull the knees towards each other, wrap your left hip forward and tack your right hip crease back. And then bring your forearms to the floor or blocks or pillows, firm cushions on the floor in front of you. So you can always lift the floor up to meet you where you are. Be resourceful. So you look to your environment, the space that you occupy, and use what you have to support you where you are. Deeper breath in, pull the knees towards each other, wrap the back hip forward, front hip crease back. Longer breath out, soften between the shoulder blades, the throat, the jaw, the face. Can have hands replace your elbows here. Step it back to downward dog. Deeper breath in, longer breath out. See if you can find that current of energy, breath to heart, heart to mind, mind to body. And as you claw your fingertips into the earth, inhale to float the left leg up. Exhale, left knee comes outside the left wrist towards the left edge of the mat. Lower the back knee down. And if that got a little awkward, then just scooch the left knee over to the left. Walk your back knee back as needed. Walk your back knee to the midline. And keeping your back toes under, try to get a little bit more weight on the outer edge of your back knee. And as you pull the knees towards each other, wrap the right hip forward. Tack the left hip crease back, and then pour yourself out over your front leg, come to your forearms. So it's not a totally passive pose here. If it feels like the front hip is collapsing onto the front thigh bone, you're not actually getting a hip opening. If that's the case, try pressing the back knee down, drag it forward and lift your butt up and back. And as you lift your butt up and back, you open the pelvic floor. That creates space to isolate this buttock flesh, this sitting bone, anchor it down so that the front hip lifts up. And then can you keep the front hip lifting as you sort of army crawl your forearms forward? You pull yourself, stretch yourself out of your depth, the depths of your being your hips and your pelvis. Reach the heart forward and soften between the shoulder blades. And drink the breath in, pull the knees towards each other, and soften the breath out, soften between the shoulder blades. Inhale, plant the hands at the top of the mat, step it back to downward facing dog. We'll meet there. We did a bunch of shoulder opening, hip opening, and twisting, some core work. Just take a moment to breathe into all the newfound space. Inhale for plank. Exhale through chaturanga or chaturanga bypass. Inhale for the back bend, cobra, cobra dog or upward dog. Exhale for downward dog. As you pedal the feet from side to side, and slowly start to walk your feet forward until the heels ground, and then start to walk your fingertips back. Fold over your legs, bow to your heart. Always present, intrinsically peaceful, utterly powerful. The voice of the true teacher is always present. Bow to yourself. As you inhale, get long through the spine. As you exhale, fold. Walk your hands to the top of your mat. Walk your feet back. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Last one. Lower your knees. Sit your knees wide. Point your feet. Bring your big toes together. And send your hips towards your heels for child's pose. This pose is meant to be like a restorative, comfortable place. It's not that way for everyone. It's not one size fits all. So if child's pose is uncomfortable for you, you can alternatively come onto your belly, stretch yourself out on your belly. And if there's a bun in the oven and child's pose doesn't feel good and prone pose isn't appropriate for you, then you can come to rest on your left side. Find a comfortable, supported place to be, where you can close your eyes and find your breath. Invite a deeper breath in and a longer breath out. Notice any changes in your breath. Notice how and where you feel your breath. And in particular, look for your breath in the back of your body. The back of the waist, sides of the waist, back of the chest. Allow your whole body to breathe more fully. Allow the breath to move in you as you through you more freely. If you're resting on your belly, you can roll onto your back. If you're in child's pose, come through table and find your way onto your back. You can take a sip of water, locate yourself in space if you want to adjust your lighting or your sound controls. Beginning to wind down as we prepare for a final relaxation. As you come onto your back, bring your feet flat on the floor, knees bent, feet on the floor. Take your feet about as wide as your mat. Both knees fall gently to the right. Totally optional here to place the outer edge of the right foot on top of the left thigh. Just see if that feels okay for your knee. Inhale your legs through center. As you exhale, let both knees fall gently to the left. Totally optional to bring your left foot on top of your right thigh here. Can rest your hands on your low belly or down to the sides, palms down or palms up. Just notice what feels natural, what draws you closer to your true nature. Inhale your legs through center. Bring your legs all the way together. Cross your left leg over your right leg. Scoot your butt to the left and lower your knees all the way over to the right. Bend your right elbow and press your right elbow down to twist your belly to the left. And release the left arm down to the side or out to the side, palm up. Deep breath in. Long breath out. Inhale the legs through center, uncross, shift the hips to neutral. Cross the right thigh over the left thigh. Scoot your butt to the right and lower your legs all the way to the left. It just occurred to me, I've done this posture already today, so it's pretty deep for me. If this feels tight, again, be resourceful. You could take a pillow, some pillows, or a block if you have, and you can put a little support underneath your legs, but the knees are a bit propped up will make this a little less intense. Totally optional. Or let the legs be heavy to the left. Bend your left elbow in line with your left shoulder. Press your left elbow down for leverage to twist your belly from left to right, and release your right arm down to the side or out to the side, palm up. Big breath in, long breath out. On your next inhalation, come through center, uncross, shift the hips to neutral. Stretch your legs out long, reach your arms overhead. Huge breath in, let it percolate inside. A long breath out. As you exhale, at the bottom of that breath, hug your knees in towards your chest. Wrap your arms around your legs. Just take a moment to scan your body with your awareness. Notice if any of your body parts are calling out to you for more support or more attention. Just listen to your body. Listen to understand. Where does the energy flow so fully and so freely that there's no awareness, there's no need? And where does it feel, to any extent, a little stuck or blocked or calling out? And bring your feet to the ground. So here the knees are bent and the feet are flat on the floor. If the low back is calling out in any way, I recommend taking your feet a little wider, about mat's distance apart, and let your knees rest against each other at the midline for our final rest. It's just a suggestion, it creates more space in the lower back. Or you can stretch your legs out long and let the feet roll open. And then options here to let the hands rest on the lower belly, or to release the arms down to the sides, palms up. Close your eyes in order to see yourself more clearly. Look for your breath. And with each consecutive exhalation, allow yourself to soften a little more. Let the breath in be passive, and with each consecutive exhalation, allow yourself to settle a little more heavily into the unconditional support of gravity. The heavier you let yourself be, the lighter you will become. Let the breath move passively and naturally in through the nose. And as you exhale, release any last remaining bits of tension, conscious, subconscious, unconscious. And for the time being now, let yourself be breathed. Let your whole body breathe. Invite a deeper breath in and a longer breath out. As you deepen your breath, feel how naturally your breath deepens you. Locate yourself in the field of consciousness, where the unconditional presence of the breath joins with the unconditional support of gravity, where these two great energies intersect is exactly how and where we find ourselves. Let the spirit that you are begin to gently awaken the body that you have, wiggling your toes and fingers, stretching through your arms and your legs, moving and stretching yourself in whatever way feels good. And as you feel ready, can bend your legs, feel both feet on the ground. Take a moment to call yourself down to earth, back to reality. A moment to visualize the ways in which we stretch our practice of yoga into the activities of our daily lives in ways that have the greatest possible positive impact on those around us. If there's any final prayer or wish that you would like to offer up, that we can collectively uplift in this moment of presence, can take it to heart and let it out with the exhale. And then rolling to your right side, we'll press through both arms to lift ourselves up. Find one more comfortable seated posture, kneeling or legs crossed, sitting on support. Let's bring our hands together, once again in Anjali Mudra, a gesture of sincere self-reverence, of sincere self-love that acknowledges the source of supreme love, divine wisdom, never further than our hearts, and a gesture that consciously and bravely places this aspect of ourselves, the heart of hearts, so soft, so strong and wide open, before us as a guide. As you bow to your heart, with all my heart I bow to the splendor in each of you. And that's what I mean to say when I say namaste. Thank you all so much for joining in this practice. So, and thank you so much to Philly Magazine, Philly Mag Events crew, and Be Well Philly for hosting our annual summer flow. It's great that we were able to pull off being here and being together. And of course, thank you to our sponsor, Michelob Ultra. I always love to, at the end of the day, after a long day, getting to my practice is like crossing the finish line. And then after a practice, to crack open a beer or a kombucha, if you're not familiar, same company, different beverage, a beer, a kombucha, wine. So if you want to take a moment and grab a drink, water, maybe a sip of water first. I'm going to do that, sip of water. And then a spirit. It was a spiritual practice, so it's always nice to cheers, to salute each other with a spirit. And Be Well sent me some questions for a little fun Q&A. So I'm just pulling those up now. And again, if you have any questions about anything we did or anything yoga related, feel free to put those in the chat. Let's see. It's like a fun little happy hour. It'd be fun to do like a 20 questions thing. Let's see. So one of the questions is, do you have any suggestions for getting better sleep in quarantine? Yeah, so what's that old saying, like early to bed, early to rise? One of the things that I've been noticing is that if I stay up past a certain time, it's much more difficult to fall asleep. And for me, you know, we're all on like slightly different rhythms. We have our own pace. And yoga is a practice of self-inquiry. And it's not just what happens on our mats, like what happens with our eating, our hydrating, our sleeping, our socializing. We all kind of have our own pace for these things. And so it's really important, I think, to get to know yourself and kind of figure out where your line is. Like when your body gives you cues that you're tired, you start to rub your eyes, or a yawn is your body's way of indicating to you it's time to start winding down, go to bed. And it's really just been since I had another baby about a year ago that I see how natural these cues are. We're wired. We have bodily somatic functions that indicate to us that it's time to start shutting down for the day. So really paying attention, or even if you live with anyone, to ask them to reflect for you, like, let me know if it looks like I'm rubbing my eyes or I'm yawning, and then just really try to create a boundary in the day to do your bedtime routine, to just try to get to bed earlier and start learning your own cues and recognizing your cues. Like, do you know when you're hungry? Do you know when you're tired? We have this sort of social, I think prior to quarantine, there were many more social obligations that we would just kind of, I know for me, I'd be exhausted and yet I would like go to this dinner, or I'd be exhausted and I would have this meeting, or I'd be exhausted, but I'd go to this class. And I think if anything, the quarantine has really given me an opportunity to see and reflect and listen to understand when my body is telling me it's tired. So my suggestion would be, look for if you're yawning or rubbing your eyes, and try to listen. Yoga is all about listening to our bodies. Try to listen to your body. What are some of the best ways to get out of bed and feel motivated in the morning? I'm going to read all the questions. I mean, none of these are, I'm not an expert in any of these things, and it's just like from a lifestyle perspective, I can share my opinions. And I wish that we could be a little bit more interactive. I'd love to hear if any of you have any input. Feel free to share in the chat. I have a baby girl who is a morning person, and no one else in our family is. And so mornings, because there's such a misalignment there, mornings have been a bit dreadful. And so most days it's my turn to get up with Gigi, and then some days it's my beloved's, her father's chance to get up with her. And my son, who is just like me, could literally sleep through the apocalypse. Like, he just will sleep until 8 or whenever. He's 6. But Gigi's like 5:27 on the dot most days. The other day was 4:59. And just in the past week, I've noticed that I really don't like my bad attitude around the fact that she just is a morning person, and I don't want her to ever feel like she should be or has to be anything other than herself. So I'm trying to get back into the routine of like making a smoothie in the morning, and thinking that early morning time is maybe a better time of day to kind of do my work prep, answer emails, think about my Instagram, meditate, rather than having to save that stuff for later in the day where it might interfere with some other productivity. So anyway, that's just the long-winded way of saying I can't answer that one. Should we do one more? Do we have time for one more? Or how many more should we do? Philly Mag events, if you want to use the chat to let me know if I should keep rolling, I'm happy to do more. The next question is, I feel like I need a better way to differentiate between work time and me time. Is there a best way to start and end your day? Yeah, this has been another really helpful one since quarantine for me, is changing my clothes. Has anyone found during quarantine that, like, I don't know, there was like definitely a moment in quarantine where my 6-year-old said something about how many days it had been since I was in the same clothing. Kids are great for reflection. And so I started to realize that even like if it's all comfy clothes or loungewear, like I'm a professional yoga teacher, so I'm kind of always in clothes that I could work in, exercise in, or sleep in. That when I get home, now that I'm going out more, when I get home, I take off all my clothes and I put on my house clothes. And it reminds me how my grandma used to, like, she had like her house dresses. And when she would wake up, she would like put on a house dress. And if she was going out, she would put on like her clothing for going out. And when she would come home, she would put on a house dress. And then at nighttime, she would put on her nightgown. So I think just changing clothing, it's like costumes. And I do really find that it affects my mindset. So when I go home, I put on like my sweat shorts and a t-shirt, and it's like, and then if I'm going out, I put on, maybe just I change my shirt. But I find that changing my clothes helps me demarcate the parts of the day. How we doing? Cheers, anyone? I'm going to keep going through these questions until someone tells me to stop. It looks like people are leaving. Any quarantine indulgences that you'd recommend? Quarantine indulgences. I mean, I don't know if it's an indulgence, but one of the things that I found so sweet is, you know, I didn't even know what Zoom, I had heard of Zoom prior to quarantine, but it was like something that I was totally had a block against. And since the first week of quarantine, I've been becoming maybe a Zoom expert, not an expert, but I'm becoming very familiar with it. And it's been really cool to connect with folks all across the country on this platform and just talk to some friends that I haven't talked to in a while. So I think for me, one of the indulgences has been, you know, before, I'm sure like many of you were just like so busy all the time. I find it very hard to foster connections with people who just like aren't around in the immediate present circle. And so I've really enjoyed taking the time to, and having the time to have like the longer conversations with folks that I just don't get to talk to regularly. So that feeling of connection with people who are far away, in a weird way, they feel closer than ever. And any other indulgences? I'm trying to think. Cooking at home. I feel like I'm doing less of that now, but in the beginning, it was so nice to be able to like make all of our meals, cook all of our meals. Again, just from just general busyness. I'm a big takeout and leftovers person. And you know, really just spending time with our food and preparing our food is so sacred. So that was probably one of my favorite indulgences, was spending more time cooking. Should I keep going? I'm happy to. I have a babysitter. Quick tricks to reboot during the day when you used to be able to go to the water cooler at the office. Yes. Stand up, stretch out, inhale, reach the arms up, exhale, hands to heart. I think like every 1 hour or 2 hours, set an alert on your phone to stand up, breathe, and stretch. Even when you're at the office, to do that, to go to the water cooler and have other people do it. Yay, thanks for coming, Rachel. Thank you. So really, like, that was an hour-long practice, but 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes of just reconnecting to body and breath is such an incredible reboot. And if you have wall space at your house, and if someone can remind me, I'm teaching the last one, and we can go through this during the Be Well Summer Flow finale. If you can do an inverted L pose at the wall where you put your feet on the wall with your hands on the floor, take like 3 to 5 breaths upside down. It's like a matcha lemonade or a shot of espresso. It's like a total reboot. It's like shaking the juice. And the last one is, what are some tricks for carving out time for self-care during the busy day with work, home, kids, etc.? So all the things I just said are great. You know, just taking 1 breath, 3 breaths, 5 breaths to reconnect to yourself and to center yourself, I think is critical self-care throughout the day. And then if I'm gonna be like totally honest, and this might be TMI, I hide in the bathroom. Like whenever I have to use the restroom, I just make those trips to the restroom as long as possible, just for like quiet time, whether I'm just gonna be quiet and breathe, or self-reflective if I just need to kind of take inventory of my thoughts to kind of declutter the mental space. For me, that happens in the shower or on the porcelain throne, or sometimes I like need to brush my teeth twice, brush, rinse, repeat, just to like get through the mental process, the physical check-in, and thinking about the day. So the bathroom's my sweet spot. So that's all the questions. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michelob. You rule. I'm so inspired by this movement campaign. Thank you to Be Well. Thank you to every one of you for showing up, for choosing to be here and be together. I'm so excited to spend the month, Wednesday evenings this month with you all. And I believe that they recorded it. So if you liked this practice, you might be able to access it again this week. Thank you. Have a great rest of your night. Oh, and also, for those of you who are still here, I'll try to remember this for next time. If you enjoyed this, you're welcome to check out any of my classes at Three Queens. We have a whole bunch of teachers. We have a whole bunch of virtual classes. You can go to our website, Three Queens Yoga. Follow us on Instagram, Three Queens. You can find me on Instagram. I think my handle is _Mariel Freeman _. And we do outdoor classes 4 times a week in Head House. It's sheltered outdoor space, which is really cool. And we have a whole virtual schedule. And you can use the promo code NEW ONLINE to join our virtual schedule for free for your first time. And if anyone finds that like paywalls are a barrier to doing yoga, there's a promo code called Mariel Online, that you can use for any virtual class anytime, absolutely anytime. It's unlimited. So if you enjoy yoga and you want more of it, please have at it.